You'd think if someone wanted to get married in your backyard, they'd at least have the decency to ask. But not Linda. No, Linda decided my backyard was her wedding venue, without permission, without payment, and without a shred of guilt. I only found out when a guy with a tape measure hopped over my koi pond and announced, "We're thinking string lights from the fence to the oak tree." I blinked. He grinned and waved a clipboard, saying, "Linda told us this is where the vows are happening." That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with your typical bridezilla. I was up against the queen of entitlement. Let me back up a bit. I moved into Pinewood Grove a year ago, drawn by the quiet streets, towering trees, and that rare neighborhood vibe where people wave but don't feel obligated to chat. I'm a software engineer by day and a backyard enthusiast by choice. I'd spent months crafting my little oasis: wildflowers, a trickling pond, string lights I strung up myself, and cedar benches I built beneath a 200-year-old oak. I called it my stress-free sanctuary. Then Linda stormed in. Linda's the HOA president, the kind of woman who wears blazers with shoulder pads and swings her clipboard like a battle axe. She once slapped me with a $25 fine for leaving my trash bin out past what she called acceptable visibility. When I asked her to define that, she handed me a 5-page rulebook with highlights and sticky notes. That's who she is. Everyone in the neighborhood tiptoes around her, but I've never been great at bowing to people who mistake bossiness for character. I paid the fine in quarters, smiled, and let it go. So, when I got home one Wednesday to find 3 strangers in my yard, one sketching a blueprint labeled wedding layout, I assumed it was a mix-up. They introduced themselves as the wedding planner, florist, and audio tech. The DJ, they said, was stuck in traffic. Before I could ask whose wedding, the florist chirped, "Linda's daughter." She said, "You're thrilled to help." I laughed so hard I nearly choked. Naturally, Linda didn't answer my calls, texts, or knocks. 2 hours later, she texted back, "Don't be difficult, Sam. The community appreciates your support. You'll love being part of something special." I stared at that message like it was in another language. What community? Who signed off on this? Did I miss a memo titled, "Your yard's a free venue now"? I replied with one word, "No." She sent a thumbs up emoji. A thumbs up. My blood pressure spiked. The next day, I stepped outside to find a box labeled "Tent Anchors" on my patio and 2 guys unloading poles near my prized irises. I told them they had the wrong address. They showed me a diagram with my name, lot number, and a note. Ceremony area, do not disturb wildlife. I nearly lost it. That night, I dug into the HOA rules and found a gem. Temporary community events on private property may be allowed with assumed consent if they serve a greater neighborhood interest and require no structural changes. Assumed consent. Linda had found a loophole she could pole vault through. I'm not big on confrontation, but I don't take kindly to being a doormat with a nice lawn. I checked the forecast: rain, heavy rain, with thunder, and smirked. Linda didn't know my yard's back corner turns into a swamp when it's wet, a fix I'd planned for next spring. I also have a smart sprinkler system, and I suddenly felt inspired to test it. Still, I gave her one last shot. I texted, "Rain's coming this weekend. Might want to rethink." She replied, "It's handled. Don't interfere. Game on." The next morning, her daughter, Emily, showed up. No knock, just waltzing in with a measuring tape and a binder. When I confronted her, she said, "Oh, I thought this was the public event space Linda told us about." My koi pond's waterfall seemed to chuckle with me. Soon, whispers spread. At the grocery store, I overheard, "Did you hear Sam's hosting Linda's wedding?" Another said, "I thought he offered." Lies so bold they were almost art. That evening, I stood by my oak tree, the vow spot, eyeing the roots and the soggy soil they'd soon meet. I tweaked my sprinklers, nothing illegal, just a test, timed with the rain. Tents were half up, chairs arrived, and a catering, do not tilt, trailer parked nearby. Linda hadn't spoken to me in days, but I saw her in the cul-de-sac, gushing about rustic vibes and natural light. She thought she'd nailed it. She didn't know nature and a ticked-off techie were about to crash her party. By morning, a truck labeled Events 360 rolled up. 5 guys spilled out, one asking, "We good to anchor the tent?" I asked if they'd spoken to the owner. He looked puzzled. "I thought that was you." I confirmed it, and he paled when I said, "Pause everything." 5 minutes later, Linda stormed over, heels gouging my grass, sun hat flapping like a parachute. Sam, it's disappointing you're sabotaging this beautiful moment. This is for love, for the community. I stared. Linda, if you wanted my yard, you could have knocked instead of treating it like a public park. She brushed it off. Permits are filed, vendors are hired, guests are invited. It's happening. I asked about city permits. She smirked. HOA events don't need them. I warned her about damages. She scoffed. Don't be dramatic. Soon, a generator hummed by my shed, tables stacked near my flowers, and festival-sized speakers went up. A schedule appeared. 2 p.m., ceremony under oak. 3 p.m., champagne by pond. 4 p.m., string quartet. My rose bushes were dubbed photo corner, rustic charm. My name? Nowhere. Then an HOA letter slid under my door, claiming I was breaching neighborhood harmony and threatening fines for resisting. I framed it under certified absurdity. I dug deeper. City rules required permits for big events, noise variances, even fire approval. Linda had none. I could have shut it down, but the forecast bumped to 80% rain. I decided to let her sink, literally. I documented everything, photos, videos, texts, in a folder called Operation Linda Flood. The chaos escalated. Linda planted a no trespassing sign on my property for her rehearsal. Caterers hauled shrimp and jars of something pricey. I asked about permits. Linda said it's cleared. They shrugged. That night, she filmed the sunset, cooing, golden hour, violins, vows, perfect. She added, Sam will come around. He can't resist something bigger. She thought I'd cave. She was wrong. The day before, clouds loomed, gray and heavy. My sprinklers accidentally ran long, softening the marshy corner. Linda didn't notice, too busy directing tent stakes that wouldn't hold. The string quartet arrived, sinking in mud. One muttered, we need stilts. Linda waved them to the oak, now a puddle. The florist's carts bogged down, spilling hydrangeas. Is this a swamp? One asked. It's rustic, Linda snapped. She glared at me. Sam, fix the mud. I sipped my coffee. On my property? For your uninvited wedding? Nah. Guests arrived. Heels, suits, an elderly lady with a walker sinking fast. A groomsman tripped, ruining his pink pants. The tent leaned, the swan-shaped cake cracked, and the champagne tower, 60 glasses, crashed when the table shifted. Linda froze as glass shattered. Thunder rumbled, then rain poured. Tents sagged, the cake melted, guests fled. Linda, soaked, screamed, you did this. I shrugged. I control the weather now. She pointed at my sprinkler box. You adjusted it. I said, routine test. You told me not to interfere. Police arrived. Someone reported the chaos. I handed them a USB with evidence. Linda stammered. It's a community event. An officer laughed. She got a warning for trespassing and illegal use of my land. The wedding died. My yard? A battlefield of chairs, trays, and a lone speaker wheezing music. Linda's reign crumbled. Neighbors turned. A petition ousted her from the HOA. Her lawsuit threat, sabotage, emotional distress, flopped when my lawyer countered. Her daughter apologized, revealing the groom bailed post-disaster. Linda vanished, then returned with a lavender plant and a quiet sorry. She'd misread everything. I didn't hate her anymore, just pitied her a little. The neighborhood healed. Volunteers fixed my lawn. Linda threw a barbecue, offering a dunk tank for penance. I'd be there, first in line. Sometimes revenge isn't sabotage, it's watching someone rebuild, one soggy step at a time.